You might or might not remember that a moment after the Eagles' Howie Roseman, their GM, took Jalen Hurts late in the second round of the 2020 draft, I immediately tweeted that Jalen Hurts would change life in Philadelphia and soon beat out Carson Wentz. I used to call him Wentz, as in I winced when I watched him play. And I'm sure a lot of people thought I was nuts, as usual. But I could just hear a whole lot of people saying, wait, the same Nick Saban, the same guy that Nick Saban yanked in the national championship game in favor of Tua, that guy, the guy who can't throw. I mean, even before Sunday's NFC championship game, I heard several national commentators, I won't call their names, but I heard several say, Jalen Hurts just can't throw. I've heard it all year. Eagles threw the ball a grand total of 448 times during the regular season. That was the fewest in the NFL by 29. Ravens were second to last. Obviously, the Eagles did have Saquon, and the Ravens did have Derrick Henry, so you can do the math. And the Eagles obviously had Jalen's legs, and the Ravens had Lamar's legs. But look at Jalen Hurts now. He threw for 246 yards Sunday against Washington. I'm not making that up, not exaggerating, 246. He made some big-time, deadly, accurate throws. How sweet was that 31-yarder to A.J. Brown on 4th and 5 late in the first half when the game was still pretty tight? And now Jalen Hurts returns to the Super Bowl for the second time in 3 years with a chance for revenge against Patrick Mahomes, the same Patrick Mahomes Jalen outplayed in that Super Bowl 2 years ago in Phoenix. It was in Glendale in the Phoenix area. That day, 2 years ago, Jalen threw for 304 yards in a Super Bowl. He did that, not making it up, 304. Mahomes in that Super Bowl threw for a grand total of 182. Jalen 304, Patrick 182. Not to mention that Jalen did run it 15 times for 70 more yards and 3 rushing touchdowns to Mahomes' 6 runs for 44 yards. Not bad. But yes, Chiefs pulled that one out 38-35. Not this time. This time, I'm betting on Jalen Hurts' intangibles. No NFL quarterback has stronger intangibles than Jalen Hurts. I've said it before. I'll say it now. Lots of quarterbacks are better throwers of the football than Jalen Hurts, but Jalen makes the throws, the runs, the plays. Jalen Hurts is just a big game, big play, playmaker, natural-born leader, winner, a guy you better not bet against when it matters most. No, he wasn't born with the best arm or the most speed. But God gave Jalen Hurts the clutch gene. You better believe it. And yeah, you got me on this one. I know. Jalen did make that one extremely uncharacteristic mistake in his first Super Bowl 2 years ago. They were up 14-7 in the second quarter, early second. They were driving. Could have been 21-7. And on a 3rd and 5 near midfield, Jalen he just lost the handle. Unforced error. Nobody touched him. Lost the handle. And unfortunately, the oblong football bounced right up to Nick Bolton, who scooped it up on one incredibly lucky bounce. There go those Chiefs again. Luckiest team in the history of the world. One big lucky bounce up to Nick Bolton, and he took it to the house. He scored with it. 14-all instead of 21-7. That will not happen this time. Jalen Hurts and company just scored 55 points in a championship game. No team has ever done that. This is a very explosive offense. But Jalen can't throw. Didn't I hear that again and again about Tim Tebow back in 2011? Do you remember those days? When Tim Tebow that year led the NFL in QBR in the final 5 minutes of all the games he played. That Tim Tebow took over at quarterback when the Broncos had fallen to 1-4, and he lifted them to the AFC West title and a win over Ben Roethlisberger's Steelers in a playoff game. Tim Tebow did that. There's some Tebow in Jalen Hurts, just some. Tebow ultimately won with his will. He just willed it. So does Jalen. Tebow often won with his legs. Obviously, so does Jalen. Jalen's a more consistent passer than Tebow ever was, yet Jalen can drive you crazy, drives me crazy, with stretches of, what are you doing, man? Jalen can just lose it for a while. He can lose his accuracy, his command, his feel, sometimes even his poise. Just, I don't know what, he just kind of goes deer in headlights. He freezes in the pocket. But when it is time, game on line, oh, there he is. And he shows right back up and he takes right back over. I do think Jalen is a better leader than Tebow ever was. The Tebow in pro football, maybe not at Florida, but than Tebow was in Denver, let's say. Tebow, of course, was so outspoken about his religion, about his faith, that it sometimes set him apart from his teammates. Jalen's spiritual in his own quiet way, but he's more one of the fellas than Tim ever was or could be. Jalen is the backbone of that locker room. He is the last word in that locker room and in that huddle. So if I can bring it back to my Dallas Cowboys, give me Jalen Hurts over Dak Prescott any day or any night game. Yeah, Dak will always put up more spectacular passing numbers than Jalen, but Jalen will win more games, especially playoff games, games that really, really matter. His and Dak's career regular season winning percentage is right there together. They're both at 62% winning percentage of their regular season games, but Jalen is 5-3 in the playoffs, and he has lifted his team to 2 Super Bowls now, while Dak is 2-5 in the postseason, and of course, he has never even made it to an NFC championship game. Jalen Hurts has far more winners' intangibles than Dak Prescott has. And now, a week from Sunday, the same Jalen Hurts who can't throw will lead the Philadelphia Eagles past the Chiefs to a Super Bowl championship. You heard it here first, and you will hear it here last. Way to go, Jalen. Love you, man.